What's going on, y'all? Ryan Lee in the building. The Ryan Report, Unlimited Leeway. All right. So, this is going to be by far, hands down, 100% the most important video that I have ever recorded and uploaded to this channel. In this video, I will be giving my very first testimony. Many of you have been watching the videos, tuned into the podcast, and have a decent understanding of what I've been on, thinking, and trying to figure out throughout this year. And in this video, I will be telling you guys the story, my testimony of my experiences for the past couple of years, and what has ultimately led me up to my new revelation. So, in this video, I will be giving my testimony from awakening to new age to Christ. All right. We're going to go ahead and begin this with my upbringing to give you guys a basis of my understanding of spirituality from a young age. So, my understanding of spirituality, religion, Christ, anything like that was not really much. I'd never really read the Bible. I was never really interested in the Bible. It just didn't interest me. You know, I never was anti-Bible and I was never pro-Bible, and it was never pushed upon me in a strict way. And I never gained a genuine interest for it or anything of metaphysical matters at a young age in general. Went to church a lot. My family runs a Baptist church and my family runs a Catholic church, and we used to go to the same house afterwards for dinner and to eat, and they would argue about which one was right. That was confusing, and I also was not very interested in that either. And church was very boring. Church was very, very boring. So I also went to Catholic school up until Katrina. That was boring and spooky. Catholic church has always been very spooky to me, and it was also very boring. So I say all of that to say I had no interest for or against the Bible, Christianity, religion, or any general spirituality at all at a young age. Wasn't for, wasn't against. And I thought it was really boring. I like to watch cartoons and I like to play video games. That's me. Boom. So, fast forward. And then Katrina hit, and then like the gap between me and any type of church, religion, or anything was kind of separated. It widened then. And I went to church here and there, but for the most part, that was kind of like, it was a wrap after that. Fast forward to high school. High school, I started making music, right? I loved Kanye West, wanted to be just like the guy. Loved Kanye West, loved his music. Wanted to be like him, started making music, went to NOCA, started doing music at NOCA. Still no interest in the Bible or any type of spirituality. Now I watch cartoons, I play video games, and I make music. And I got really, really good at music really, really fast. And people enjoyed and gave praise to my music really, really quickly. And I could say, now I can look back and say that got to my head, you know. I was just, I must be a musical genius the way I'm so good at this so quickly, and everybody seems to love it so quickly. So boom, fast forward to college. Now we're partying, still doing music, performing and stuff around the city. Enter drugs, enter alcohol, enter partying women and performing around the city. So now, with still no interest or knowledge of the Bible or the Word. So now we're getting into the territory of pride, been in idolatry, ignorant idolatry, lust, and things of this nature, you know. And in this period of time, looking back, now I can see the things that I was doing ignorantly, but doesn't really matter, but that were like direct attacks against the word or the path of Christ, in which I began to be put on the naughty list, you could say. Aside from just the partying and hedonism and revelry and idolatry that I was engaging in, little things of like actual acts against myself and others that now I know are like no-nos, you know what I mean, naughty. And then this is what began what I would consider my fall from grace. I became very, very depressed. I was very, very resentful of people that had did things to me. In my pride and moving around, you know, as an adult, within music and stuff like this, I was very angry. I was very envious, you know, of others. And all of a sudden, I just could not succeed in music no more. It was as if it was taken from me. You know what I mean? Couldn't succeed in music. I started getting writer's block, and it was just all kind of slipping away in a way that I couldn't explain. You know, on top of that, I'm very depressed. I'm angry. I'm hopeless. It was an air of hopelessness, as if this dark cloud was over me. You know, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't know what was going on. The drug use started to intensify. Drug use intensifies. And now I'm just in it with still no understanding of what's going on, but now I'm just on drugs and depressed and stuff like this. So ended up getting a job, you know, which didn't do well for my pride, you know, because I'm supposed to be a famous rapper. You know what I mean? What am I doing at this job with these people that work jobs? I don't work jobs. I'm a rapper. Just an ignorant asshole. You know? And that went on for about 2 years or something like that. Hints of sobriety along the way, but that's another story. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward to the passing of my father. After my father passed, I got really depressed and started exasperating my substance abuse again, you know. And then my brother ended up showing me videos about this guy. I talk about him all the time, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, Canadian clinical psychologist. And he sent me these videos of this guy, and the videos were absolutely amazing, and I loved him. I loved what he was talking about. It was right up my alley. It was everything that I needed at the time, and I got super duper engulfed in his teachings and what he was talking about, and I wanted to know more. So I ended up reading his book. I talk about this a lot. 12 Rules for Life, the Antidote to Chaos. Read that book, applied the knowledge, saw my life change really, really quickly in positive ways. And I was just into everything he was talking about, maps of meaning. But then I watched his, but, you know, after reading the book, it leads you into doing things, you know, like reading other self-help books and taking care of yourself and loving yourself and being sober and taking responsibility for your actions and standing up straight and not lying and not being a child and listening to your conscience and these types of things. These are kind of some of the themes that are in the book that lead you to straighten yourself out, you know? Love this guy. And then I started watching his series. Great series, very profound. The psychological significance of the biblical stories, right? I watched that. It's got like 9 videos. They're each like 2 to 3 hours long, in which he goes from Genesis 1 all the way to like Sodom and Gomorrah or like Jacob's Ladder. And he's explaining the Bible to the best of his ability psychologically. It was the most interesting thing that I had ever seen in my entire life. And that led me to more religious thinking. That's the first thing that got me genuinely interested in the Bible and in Christianity and spirituality in general. Okay, so with all of this stuff, I'm starting to put myself together. I'm starting to take responsibility for my actions. I'm starting to like myself more. With that came working out, meditation, doing yoga and stuff like this, eating healthier, and all of this stuff. Well, and I saw myself changing, and this is in 2019, maybe October, November, and December of 2019. Over the period of like 2 months, I saw myself changing, and I saw myself changing for the better. I was very positive. A lot of my resentment was going away, and a lot of my negative thoughts were just more controllable, and I was able to be more responsible, take care of myself and others around me, and just have much more of a positive outlook on life, and my trajectory was going up. Long story short, and I'll give like little tidbits of the story here and there in the future. Long story short, I woke up one day and I instantly, like I said, I was never an atheist, never was agnostic. I knew God was real, but I had no genuine idea of what that was supposed to be. I woke up and I instantly knew God was real. Okay? Instantly. He was right there in front of my face. The feeling was this feeling of intense bliss and peace beyond your understanding. All types of negative emotions were just completely eradicated. I couldn't feel them. I couldn't sense them. I couldn't perceive them. The only thing that I could perceive was intense bliss, joy, peace, love, and joy. I was running around like he's real. He's real. Running around like God's real. God's real. So I instantly knew that God was real. And then it all culminated into me going to Nashville. I'll tell this story in the future one day, but for right now, I'll just tell this part of it to give you guys an idea of where I was at. For a good month, I was just at this super duper enlightened state. And I knew God was real. And I thought life was just amazing now. Life is just going to be great for the rest of my life. I knew it. I knew everything would work out, you know, because now I'm feeling great and I'm going to feel great for the rest of my life. Then I ended up going to Nashville, and I'll tell this story in the future, but for now, I'll just say drugs were involved in the enlightened state. I took some drugs and I was instantly untethered from reality in a way that was so profound and not good, and not in a good way, that it was insane. Without going into detail, this is the moment where I recognized that I was okay. I'm at what they call the crossroads. Okay? And that's what happened in Nashville. So boom. That's about Christmas 2019. Fast forward, fast forward and I'm at work again, and then I told the story in the Mid-City AB episode of the podcast. COVID starts to come around, you know what I mean? Now it's COVID, and I end up getting furloughed, and I'm at home, but ever since that night, and, you know, in 2019, all that I cared about every single day in any type of way was trying to figure out what that was. Now, the only thing I care about is God, the universe, whatever, spirituality, yoga, meditation, whatever. psychology, whatever it was, I got to figure out what the hell that was so I can get back there. Nothing else matters but getting back to that. So, COVID comes around. While I'm in this new enlightened state and I'm typing in stuff like spiritual awakening on Google and stuff and YouTube, that's where all these spiritual gurus start to appear in my life, you know? Not to put anybody on blast, but people like Ralph Smart, people like Sadhguru, you know, when you type in spiritual awakening on Google, it funnels you directly to those guys. You know what I'm saying? People like that. And they're telling me, oh, you're having a spirit, you're not going crazy, you're having a spiritual, all this crap. I gotta watch that, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit, you're gonna get. And then they're talking about, you're the universe, you're waking up, you're creating your own reality and manifest and eat vegan food. I'm like, oh, okay, Sadhguru, okay, I got you meditating, because all I care about is trying to get back there. So that led me into the entire pandemic of COVID, in and out of problems and decent amounts of peace, but constant 24/7 maintenance of the things that I'm learning in order to try to get back to that enlightened state that I was in 2019. I'll do anything. So now I'm vegan. So now I'm meditating for 16 hours a day. Now I'm running around in the grass with my feet, with my shoes off. And now I'm doing more yoga and I'm burning sage in the crib and whatever y'all say, as long as it's gonna get me back to that. Needless to say, none of that was working to get me back to that full enlightened state that I was in. As well as the world was falling apart, if y'all remember. George Floyd was going on, COVID was going on, and these guys are talking about COVID-19. You gotta meditate to get rid of COVID, and all of this type of stuff. And I'm taking them very seriously. Let me fast forward. Okay, so needless to say, it wasn't working. I was going in and out of drinking and stuff, and then I ended up drinking again and catching the DTs. I told that story in one of the videos, and my substance abuse was just getting out of hand, and my paranoia and existential crisis was just getting out of hand. But I was still only in the search for enlightenment. Blessed are those who seek righteousness. And now y'all kind of know this part because I started telling these stories in 2021. All through COVID and 2020 and beyond, I started seeing the angel numbers. They're just popping up everywhere. These spiritual gurus are talking about angel numbers. That's when you manifest, and this is when everything's, you're in the right place at the right time. If you see all of these repeating numbers, I'm seeing those. 2021, I ended up going to rehab, and I spent a month there, still trying to figure out what happened, get out of rehab, and then I ended up relapsing instantly, and then back to meditating, relapse again, drinking on Mardi Gras Day 2021, ended up, boom, going back to rehab, and this time I spent a month in there short term, 3 months in there long term, and then maybe like 2 weeks in their sober living program, all while still trying to figure out what happened. In the midst of this, my brother ends up telling me the Bible, He's like, this time, I'm sure. Because my brother is always telling me, what I need to be focusing on, whether it's psychology, whether it's like spirituality, this and that. And, he's always been kind of like always reading the Bible and stuff. But he's like, this time, I'm certain. He's like, check this out. You got to trust me on this. This time, I'm certain. Just read the Bible. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. Man, you seem pretty serious about it. So I'm reading the Bible and it's cool. And I'm more interested in the Bible because of Jordan Peterson. So I'm reading it and it's cool and life is good. You know, it's decent. I'm in the long-term program, you know what I mean? And then, you know, because also look at the world, man. There's all kind of signs of the times. And then I'm like, whoa, could Christianity be the one true religion? Da, 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 da. Because I've thought about that at this point, you know. What about Buddhism? What about Hindu? Are they all wrong? Is anybody that doesn't believe in Christ wrong? Da, 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 da. But I'm reading it, and it's cool, and it's great. Then I ended up reading The Secret. Look how late I am. I'm reading The Secret now. And I'm reading Eckhart Tolle. I'm reading The Power of Now and A New Earth and stuff like this. I'm taking in their ideas and I'm utilizing it in my life. And for a moment, it's I'm seeing it kind of work in strange ways. So then I'm just like, I'm not against the Bible, but I'm like, ooh, this is a little bit more alluring. You know what I mean? And now I'm back into my Law of Attraction, The Secret, Eckhart Tolle, meditating stuff. Boom. I ended up getting out of the sober living program, and then I instantly went to Arizona. That's when y'all seen me at the Grand Canyon and stuff. Still trying to figure it out. Hanging out with Ray, working on the project that we're gonna put out soon. Come back from Arizona, instantly go to California. And now I'm with Ray again on Hollywood Boulevard, chilling with Common and stuff. So life is looking great, life is blessed. And I'm like, something's going on. Something's working here. Something's working here, but I do not know what. Boom, come back from California, and I'm still trying to do this manifesting stuff, trying to figure out how to master this manifesting stuff and this law of attraction stuff. And then boom, Hurricane Ida hits. I ended up leaving my crib for Hurricane Ida. And I went by my cousin, right? So now I'm by my cousin. And I stayed there for about 2 weeks. And I'm still trying to figure it out. But now I'm starting to sense this drifting away from God, you know, in favor of this law of attraction universe stuff. Even some of the stuff that was coming out of my mouth started to be, it almost seemed as if it was involuntary spewing of incorrect information. Now I know it's incorrect, but it was just spewing out involuntarily, seemingly, and blasphemous things. I'm starting to drift that far to where I'm starting to be anti Christ, God, that side, because I'm sure it's this, you know. Oh, and I ended up relapsing, bro. Straight up, I ended up relapsing during Hurricane Ida. You know, it was very stressful. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and Hurricane Ida's going on. And then I ended up going to Houston by my partner, right? Relapsing, partying out there, still blaspheming, still saying this unexplainable stream of consciousness, blasphemous misinformation of ideas and understanding of what's going on while I'm out there. And then while I'm out there, right, I'm by my partner's house. He in his room sleep, I'm on the couch sleep. The TV is off, right? And I have signals and signs like this all the time, and weird spiritual experiences like this all the time that I've been trying to make sense of for 2 years. And it's led me in all different types of directions, right? I go to sleep. TV off. I wake up. And I'm looking at the TV. And I kid you not, it was My friend whose house that I am currently staying at on the screen as a pastor. And he was saying, Jesus is the way. You need to get Jesus in your life. And he is the way to salvation. And da 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 da. And I am like, what? Remember, it's my friend in the other room on the screen. You can believe it or not. I know what I've been seeing for the last 2 years. It was my friend who was in the other room on the screen as a preacher saying, Jesus is the way. I instantly knew it. I instantly got up, got my stuff, got in my car, and drove 6 hours home. Instantly. I knew it at that point. Got home, went to sleep. I told my brother the story, and then he's like, oh, okay. Figured it out, huh? Yeah. So, I believe I got home Saturday. This Saturday just passed. Maybe a Friday was when it all happened. And there's more details in this, and I'm gonna tell it in future videos. But ever since I got home, I have been non-stop, maybe 16 hours a day. Bible study, reading the word, learning the story of the Bible, understanding what it's trying to say, understanding the Gospels, understanding Jesus Christ, trying to understand what this story is trying to say, trying to understand the power of the Word of God, what praying is, how do you pray, and it has been absolutely amazing, to say the least. To say the least. I had been, for 2 years, I had a spiritual awakening, and for 2 years, I've been searching, trying to figure out the key to the nature of our reality, trying to understand the secrets of the universe, trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. And who, shocker of all shocks, who would have thought it was Jesus Christ? Man, I tell that to my brother. He was like, bro, a lot of people. He's like, a lot of people figured that out, that Jesus Christ was the way and the light and the truth. He said it. So that was the first time that it was without a shadow. Like I said, I was never anti-Jesus. I was never pro-Jesus. And I had my first genuine spiritual experience in which I knew without a shadow of a doubt that something of a higher order was in play in 2019. And ever since then, I have been searching, seeking, and trying to figure out what it was. And it all culminated into this moment in which Jesus Christ genuinely showed himself in front of my face. And now it's the first time Saturday, without a shadow of a doubt, that I know that I can put my full trust and faith in the Word of God and Jesus Christ of Nazareth. For anybody watching that's on the fence, for anybody watching that don't know, for anybody watching at all, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, Jesus Christ is literally it. You can debate about all that other stuff. I've been watching evangelists, I've been watching it, and I'm like, oh, I understand where all of these things come from. I understand where all of the quarreling comes from and all of this stuff. I understand the mental gymnastics that people have done in history to try and disprove or avoid the truth and the realization that Jesus Christ is very serious about what he's talking about in that Bible. Now, obviously, that brought up a whole bunch of more feelings and a whole lot of more questions and thoughts. In the future, I will be talking about those things and some of the things that I've learned about the Bible. But as of right now, I'm recognizing that 5 full days of straight prayer, research, studying, reading, and watching Bible studies, pastors, evangelists, apologists, and stuff like this, and learning. And I can tell you right now that I got the peace back. The peace is back. The peace is back. The resentment is gone. It's a continuous process, but Jesus is always walking with you. God is always walking with you. If you walk with him and you invite him to walk with you on your walk, he will deliver all of the things that he talked about in the Bible. You know, thy will be done though. We don't create our own realities. You can't separate yourself from the reality of the God that gave his only begotten Son to die for our sins. You can't separate yourself from that. You can't do it. Read the Bible and find out what happens when you do that. So, my testimony from awakening, unbelievable, transcendent, enlightened state that gave me a new perspective on the nature of our reality, to the New Age spirituality, New Age gurus, teachers. I'm gonna do a whole video on that, on them angel numbers, and all this create your own reality stuff. But for right now, I'm just sharing my testimony. New Age spirituality to the final conclusion and realization of Jesus Christ is the truth, the way, and the light. It's absolutely amazing. I've begun my first genuine decision, and I've begun to walk with Jesus. You know, I've been watching people's testimonies and stuff, but I'm very excited, very happy, because I've been trying to figure out. I just wanted to know what the keys to the universe were, and I found it. And this is something that I can be genuinely passionate about for the rest of my life. Find peace and solace within the understanding that Jesus Christ is the light and way. So that is my testimony. I love you guys. I thank y'all for tuning in. I will be doing more videos. I'm not sure about how this channel is going to transform, but obviously you can get an idea of how it's going to transform. The podcast will still be going on. I'm going to see how that goes now. But yeah, this is my testimony, you guys. And I think I can end it there. This is the Ryan Report. Unlimited Leeway Life. Ryan Lee, out.